It's not every day you get to speak to a violinist. I'm joined in studio by Hezron Chetty, and he's going to introduce us to his unique sound. Hello.
How's it going?
Good. I was actually speaking to you about violin earlier. I don't know a lot about violins. I mean, we hear about guitars all the time. We hear about different instruments, but not about violin. How did you get into it?
From the age of 8, actually, I started learning the violin. My dad asked me what instrument I'd like to learn, and I saw a kid playing it in school on the Friday afternoon. My dad happened to ask me this on a Sunday, and he sent my sister and myself for our lessons, first lessons on Monday after school.
That's a good dad.
Yeah, I was a great dad, yeah.
Tell me, is this true? You can only learn the violin as a young child.
No, it's absolute. I can't use the right words on here, but it's false. It's a fallacy. You can learn it at any age. It's just how much time you actually want to put into the instrument, and how much dedication you have towards it. That's what you'll get out of the instrument.
You've toured the world, you've traveled the world,
Yes.
playing your violin. Tell me about some of the experiences you've had overseas.
Oh, had some amazing. From playing at the festivals in the UK, to traveling around to Spain and just meeting awesome people and partying on these massive fiestas in the streets. Also just learning these amazing styles of music from awesome individuals, from gypsies in India, to random people just walking around that have this energy for life, that want to teach you something about what they've learned. Whether it be a guitarist, he'll teach you, he would have taught me some sort of technique that I will now take into my violin. And it's just magical to travel and learn from all these great people.
Have you always been so curious?
Yes, always very curious, yeah.
What did you said you moved overseas when you were 22?
22, yes.
What did your parents say?
They were actually for it because I was studying at that time, studying music at UKZN, and it was for me, but it wasn't for me. I felt very restricted and pretty tied down. Like after 4 years, I could improvise. And then I was like, what's next? After watching a Rolling Stones video, I was like, okay, this is what's next. Where are the Rolling Stones from? The UK. All right, I'm going to the UK, and sort of transcended from there.
You were telling me that you've played in some punk bands. You've played in actually bands of every genre.
Yes.
How do you take such a classical instrument and a classical sound and translate it to different genres?
Well, it's about breaking boundaries. That's what I believe in a lot. And I've always been told the violin, first of all, I started with classical, and I was told that you can't improvise. It's a classical instrument, which it's not. So I broke the boundaries and I started studying jazz. I moved on from jazz to rock, and because the jazz fanatics would tell me, no, you can't play this way, you know. So you can't play it in the style of rock. You can't play it Latin. You can't do this. So I broke boundaries with that, and then I started going into rock bands. And from there, that progressed into playing with punk bands, rock bands, folk bands, hip hop, R&B, soul, blues. It just sort of goes in. Suddenly, you can improvise with an instrument that most bands don't know has the sound, and suddenly everyone's interested in having you play in their band because they're like, wow, you can do this. So that's how I'm able to do that.
Now, you've finally released, well, you have your solo album.
Yes.
Tell me about what it was like for you putting that together and finally having your own album that you could call yours. I mean, I know you were in bands, but these are now songs that are yours
Yes.
and yours only.
Very exciting, very daunting, because now I'm basically the front man of this whole project. It's not me hiding behind a band name anymore. It's my songs, you know. It's like, what's this crazy violinist thinking about, you know? It's all these thoughts. And my girlfriend and myself, Julianne, just put our minds down to it, and we just did it. And we recorded it in Durban with Rudy Gravenstein at Verbit Underground Studios. And we just kind of, you know, just put everything aside. What we had learned, we just threw it out there, and we were just, both of us were like, this is our shot, let's try it. We put the album out and we didn't know the response we were going to get, and it's actually been absolutely amazing because it's new, it's fresh, it's innovative. There's nothing in South Africa like it. There's no violinist doing this, and there's very few bands with vocalists doing this style of music. That's what's catching people's attention, is that it's brave.
Yeah. Tell me about releasing a record on your own without having that whole system that record labels kind of pump into to artists. What's that like?
It's fun. I've been with record labels, with other acts, and I know that sometimes it can be restricting and sometimes it can be great. It doesn't work for everyone, but I've learned from that. So when we went into this, we didn't really know what we were getting ourselves into. What we learned, once we hit a boundary, we realized, okay, this is the equation to get past that boundary. And we learned that equation, wrote that equation down. Now our company helps other artists in the country learn how to do what we did with this album. The process is easy. We've done all the equations, so to say, and now we're here to share it with other artists that want to know.
How do you help other artists in South Africa do what you've done?
We basically set up a company called Mad Violinist Productions, and they can contact me online or wherever and just ask for advice. We offer them advice with regards to SAMRO, how to register your music. We also offer them advice as to performances where the shows are in the certain towns, how to break into different scenes. If you're a hip-hop artist and you want to get into the rock scene, we'll give you the promoters from the rock scene's contact details. It's all about sharing. So we believe, like my music, our company policy is sharing.
What advice do you have to young South African musicians who maybe don't know what direction to go in next?
Look, the best advice I can say is stick to what you're doing, and spend less time on Facebook and more time on your art and getting to know people and networking. If there's something that interests you, read up on that. Don't worry about what another artist is doing on Facebook. Don't worry how famous they are on that. It's all just there. It can be false at times, and you, as a new artist, are building up all these aspirations based on what someone else looks like. The best advice I can give them is do it on your own. You know, take the initiative, find out who are the people in your scene that are doing that, and get to know them. That's best.